So there's another debate with Cliffe. He going against a Muslim woman in here, and then a couple other guys. I don't know if they were atheists or what. Let's get into it.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said the first thing about taking a book as a proof for your belief. You said no internal contradictions. How well do you know this book? I got this from your friend the other day. It's the Bible for all of you who don't know. I don't know which version it is. I don't know who's writing, who decided what to put it in here. John, we'll read John 1:17, 18. Do you know this one? I'll read what it says here. It says, no one has ever seen God.
Hold on. She coming out the gate. Like, you can hear it in her voice. She out the gate. Like, kind of low-key aggressive. Like, do you know this one? You claim this one. You claim this one. She out the gate with it. Calm down, mama. Calm down. Golly.
But God is the one and only who is at the Father's side has made him known. Right here, it says, no one has ever seen God, okay? Mm-hmm. You believe that? You take that? You want to read it? That's your book. This is what you take.
You bet.
Right here, same chapter, John 5:19.
Right.
Jesus, it says here, Jesus gave them this answer. I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing. No one sees, he only does what he sees. Internal contradiction. So then this book has internal contradictions. Can we agree on that? Odo, you don't say yes or no answers. What do you say about this internal contradiction?
One of the basic principles of interpreting any book is you have to read in context. And obviously when you read John chapter 1, the main point is Jesus is God in human form. He begins. Ma'am, am I allowed to answer you or not?
But you're not making sense. You say the same
well,
thing
then why are you wasting your time standing here talking to me if I'm not making sense?
Because look at all these people here who have questions. There's
Fine, then why don't you let me go on to other people? If I don't make sense, ma'am, why do you waste your time?
Why am I going to let you misguide them with your misguidance?
Oh, I see. So you have to sort of be a parasite who comes in here and just feeds off the people who are listening to me talk?
Absolutely, why not? You've already made a fool of yourself here anyways.
Why, that's pretty sad. Why can't you just be open and honest and have an honest dialogue?
I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to sound... I'm just gonna say it. Women are too emotional. Some women are too emotional to have a intellectual conversation because they too emotional. Like, why is she not even letting the man talk? He let her talk, state her, her opinion or whatever. Let him answer the question. And it's not even a question that could be answered yes or no. This has to be explained, like he said. You gotta have a context. Let him lay out the whole foundation to give you the answer. Don't cut him off because you already got your mind made up of what you think it is. Because when he tell her the truth and the answer to the question, her mind already made up. You can tell her mind already made up that she's not gonna believe it anyway. So it's really no point of them having a debate. Period. There's no point of them having this conversation because she already got her mind made up. That's when you gotta learn to go to the next person after this. But that's what Cliff on. That's why I see, like, it's crazy.
Explain this.
Yep, okay.
Explain this.
Thank you.
Have to tell him.
John chapter 1. John begins with the words, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Crystal clearly, John 1:1 is stating the deity of Christ. The word there is Christ. The Greek word is logos. Obviously, by reading John 1, you know he's talking about Christ. Obviously, he's hearkening right back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, which says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. John is taking that and putting it in Greek. John 1:1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Nobody has seen God. I haven't seen God. You haven't seen God. But the claim of John is, and the claim of Jesus is, that he is God, revealing himself in human form. That's clearly, unmistakably what John 1 is teaching. And you don't have to have a PhD in New Testament. Just read it yourself, and you'll figure that out.
It's both John. I didn't flip to even a different chapter. It's 2 pages away. Both John one saying no one sees God, the other one saying Jesus sees God. Is it saying Jesus sees himself? Is this something that everyone who reads the Bible
Yes, that's exactly right. Jesus is claiming to be God, revealing himself in human form. That's his claim.
And he sees himself.
No, you're not God.
Why would John write that?
You're not God.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Well, if you die and rise from the dead, I will listen very closely to everything you have to say.
Why is that the one thing that you take? Why
Did you see George Washington inaugurated first president of the United States?
Now he being funny, look. But these things right here, that's their deity, that's their trinity. It's going to throw them off. They don't understand it. So when he's speaking, it's foreign to them. And then at the same time, what Jesus say? Flesh and blood haven't revealed this to you, but my Father in heaven has. The Father got to reveal this to them for them to even understand it. This is the Godhead. They don't get that. And they so adamant about it. I pray that God will reveal that to them and it'll humble them. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times things we don't understand, that's what, when you continue to grow in the knowledge of Christ and you continue to grow, in knowledge, you understand, it say, if you want to be wise, you got to become a fool. And as you start to, learn more and more and more, that's when you understand, you will get the wisdom to be like, you know what? I'm not going to get so passionate and emotional and adamant about things that I may be, or not even may be wrong on, that I feel like I know I'm right on, because I could be wrong. That's when that wisdom, you could be wrong. But even if you got the confidence to even, you might have that confidence that you right. When you begin to mature, you build more patience. And with that patience, it builds patience and humility. And the patience and humility for you to understand, when you're right, that patience and humility is not going to cause you to be too arrogant, because you go back and you remember that you were at one time wrong. You know what I'm saying? And the person you might be talking to may be experiencing the same thing that you went through. So now, you being patient with them, hoping and praying that they'll come to that same, knowledge, and they'll grow past where they at right now. So that's what we hoping for these people.
States?
Other people did. I trust that.
Good, and other people saw Christ die on a cross and they saw him risen from the dead.
But they have internal contradictions.
No, there's no contradiction there. We human beings do not see God, but when God chose to become a human being in Jesus Christ, obviously Jesus knew the Father very, very intimately, very, very well.
I was raised a Catholic, and I think Jesus was a fantastic man that everybody should learn about his life.
How did you find out about Jesus?
I was taught.
By whom?
Through going to church and my family.
So why did you trust a priest in a Catholic church and your family to tell you the accurate truth about Jesus?
Really, because religion perpetuates brainwashing. That's the only way to say it. When you take a child and you teach them from day one that they have to go to church once a week, and it's just like learning a language. If you ask me to speak Chinese right now, I'm not going to be able to do it. But if I grew up in China, it would be second nature to me. Religion, think about baptism, okay? What is baptism? Why is it so important? Why was the idea that baptism is everything so perpetuated? You know what baptism is? You are making the choice for a child that can't even make up its mind yet. You see? You've already indoctrinated them into a belief system.
Where does Jesus talk about infant baptism?
That's the thing, bro. I swear this is so misunderstood. Like, people talk. This is the thing. People talk about Jesus and talk about God, the so-called God, the God that Christians believe, like they know, and they say things to let you know that they have never read the Bible, because the things that, like he just said, infant baptism, that is not biblical. That is some Catholic stuff. And if you read the Bible, then you'll see that that's a false religion. Like, this stuff is crazy. That's why he just said, wherever you see the infant baptism, now he finna look stupid. Now he finna look crazy. He probably gonna make something up.
Where does Paul or Peter or James talk about infant baptism?
How about John?
Where does anywhere in the Bible is infant baptism talked about? So I agree with you. You see, sir, we agree. Infant baptism is found nowhere in the Bible.
Okay.
So my question remains on the table, sir. What is your source of information about Jesus? Why did you trust that source? Be it the Catholic priest, be it your mom and dad?
Okay, fine. Yes.
What if we say
because I was
Muhammad?
raised since this big to know and taught. That's why you trust it.
So go look by
Okay?
yourself.
I had to be a
Learn.
skeptic. I was not going to trust mom and dad and the local priest or minister to tell me the truth about Jesus. I have to go to the eyewitness testimonies.
Okay.
Which have been
That's
changed.
This guy in the background just said he trying to make a mockery. So you don't trust your folks. It's not that you don't trust them, but you just want to go look for yourself anyway. You got to read it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like what he's saying, you got to go read for yourself. And 9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, bro, when you do go read for yourself, because your parents ain't doing nothing but teaching you the best way they can and probably what they've been taught. They growing you up in church, probably because they grew up in church. You know, it's a tradition thing. But then when you finally read that Bible for yourself, you realize, like, dang, your parents didn't mean no harm, but it's just like, dang, they really ain't read theyself. They really was just listening to whatever the preacher was telling them, and they might have read bits and pieces, but they really didn't gain a full understanding with by themselves. Like, because some of the stuff that they teaching me is not right. You know, it's not that you can't trust them. It's that, you know, they might not really didn't know. You know, come on, bro.
That's right, sir. I am not going to build my life on what mom and dad tell me.
That's a whole other debate because the
You
Bible has
have
been
to
rewritten
think
about
things
4
through
times.
yourself.
I don't
All right,
trust
well, you just mentioned to me that the Bible has been rewritten
be nice.
many times, and pieces of it have been excluded and are still being found right now. So what you're saying is that your first-hand source that you're talking about has been used. King James rewrote the Bible for a reason, okay?
No, he did.
And before our political systems were able to control the masses, religion controlled the masses. Religion was government.
All right. King James in the early 1600s did not translate the Hebrew Old Testament or the Greek New Testament. He didn't know the languages.
I'm not saying he did it himself. He was the king. He told someone
Hebrew
to do it.
scholars and Greek scholars.
Right, okay.
They did not change any.
Come on, idiot. He said, of course he didn't know language at the harp. So he told them, hey, I don't know this language, but take this part out and take this part out. I don't know what that mean, but I don't like what that look like. Take that out. Come on, Dodo.
anything.
How do you know?
Because I've studied the Hebrew Old Testament and the Greek New Testament.
Do you know Hebrew and Greek?
I had to learn Hebrew and Greek in seminary.
The way that they
And
taught, the
I
way that
know
they spoke it at
that
the
the
time
Old
it
Testament was
revealed.
written in Hebrew and the New Testament was written in Greek. Now, you raise a great question, which is, why should we trust Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John to give us accurate historical information? Hopefully you have some tests, sir, that you use to determine historical reliability. Myself, I've got 4 tests. I use them on Suetonius, Herodotus, U.S. history, Greek history, any history. Nothing sacred about my tests. Come up with your own. My 4 tests are internal consistency, meaning by that, are there contradictions within the text that point to massive confusion? When you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you'll notice a tremendous internal consistency. No contradictions. Different perspectives? Yes. Second test, literary style. Once upon a time in the land of Nod, Wink and Blink and Nod took a boat ride. Obviously, that's fairy tale. It's not the literary style of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John use historical narrative, like a newspaper reportage, as literary style. Third test, archaeology. Are we talking about Jesus and the island of Atlantis? No. We're talking about archaeologically verifiable Bethlehem, Nazareth, Jerusalem, Rome, Sea of Galilee. Fourth test. Come on, man. 2,000 years ago, in the 1st century, these guys write these Gospels. Haven't you ever played telephone? You whisper a secret in the ear of the person next to you. They whisper it in the ear of the person next to them. Yes, I played that game. Yes, the secret's totally perverted. That is not how we have the Gospels handed down to us. Sir, the Gospels that we have today in English are based on over 5,200 Greek manuscripts, all agreeing to an infinitesimal degree. Sir, there is no document from antiquity that can even approach the New Testament Gospels in manuscript evidence. So the overwhelming evidence is the Gospels are accurate historically.
So Cliff did a good job on that one. Like Cliff sometimes you run into these kind of people, like, it's crazy. Like, when they run, it's when you find the wisdom to just, sometimes you don't even entertain these people, or you just keep walking, or you just say okay and keep going, because they not gonna hear what you want to talk about, because the God of this world and blinded their eyes to see the truth, or their mind already made up to believe what they want to believe. They not ready to receive the knowledge of the truth. They're not ready to receive the gospel. So you just gotta understand, sometimes you can't reach everybody.